to this keynote address session of National Summit for Institutional Leaders. The theme, Institutional Development Plan for Holistic Development, underscores the importance of strategic inclusion and sustainable institutional planning to enhance academic excellence, strengthen governance, frameworks foster innovation, and align our institutions with national priorities and global standards. It's our privilege to have with us esteemed session chair, Professor N. Panchanatham Sir, Vice-Chancellor, Gandhigram Rural Institute, and to deliver keynote address, we have with us Professor Alok Rai Sir, Director IIM Calcutta. I request Sir Panchanatham Sir and Professor Alok Rai Sir to please come up on the dais and take your seat. To briefly introduce our chair and session speaker, Professor N. Panchanatham Sir, Vice-Chancellor of Gandhigram Rural Institute, deemed to be institute under the Ministry of Education, Government of India. Sir has also served as the Vice-Chancellor of Tamil Nadu Teachers Education University with over 34 years of distinguished experience in teaching, research and academic administration and extensive activities. Sir has contributed significantly to higher education through his association with Annamalai University, Tamil Nadu Teachers Education University, Gandhigram Rural Institute and the Government of Puducherry. We welcome you, sir. We have with us an eminent professor, Professor Alok Rai Sir, is the Director of Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta. Sir has earlier served as Vice-Chancellor of the University of Lucknow. Sir has been a Professor of Marketing at the Institute of Management Studies, Banaras Hindu University. An accomplished academician and institution builder, Sir is known for his contribution to management education, academic governance and institutional transformation. We welcome you, sir. Now I request Dr. Seema Agarwal ma'am, Principal, Kanodia College, to please come up on the stage to felicitate our chair and keynote address speaker. I request Seema ma'am to please present the token to our session chair, Professor N. Panchanatham sir. I also request Seema ma'am to please felicitate our Professor Alok Rai sir, who is the keynote speaker for this session. I now request the session chair, Professor Panchanatham sir, to initiate the session. Sir, please.
Good morning to all. Namaste. Good noon. In fact, most respected speaker of this great session on institutional development plans for holistic development. Good friend Dr. Professor Alok Rai ji and other galaxy of respected personalities present here, friends, teachers, invitees, organizers, moderator. Very good afternoon to every one of you, and I know that you all will be eagerly waiting to listen to the speaker, and my duty is to introduce, even that was done by a moderator, so I am very happy and thankful to him. But I personally could, how great institution builder, how great person he is. So many examples you can say. and his own experience, like, when it was held in Lucknow last time, NSIL, he spoke. That time he was the Vice-Chancellor there. He had around 780 crores surplus money, but he is the only Vice-Chancellor who openly spoke that time. And when other universities are in trouble, and and I am very happy. And also he told that the strategy, like, he does not have even 700 rupees. The university he made 780 crores to the university because he is basically from the business school, so marketing person. But what he will have to learn, one of the strategies, and he told, I do remember a couple of years ago, he personally visited some of the alumni, great alumni, and he personally requested them to adopt some children, students who are not able to pay their fees. But he has got 780, he can very well pay money, but still the inclusiveness, involving alumni, bringing them, because this topic is institutional development plans. So many he will share from his own experiences, but still a hectic task. Sometimes he used to say that he himself, as a Vice-Chancellor, goes, meets some of the alumni, and why can't you adapt some of the children? And see their greatness, it is his greatness that he is going and meeting. See their greatness, and they used to say that, yes, I will adopt two children, or one boy or one girl, but don't tell that I have adopted. Don't tell even my name to them, and I will pay all fees for them. So these are all very good examples, and a very practicing man. Not only is a great academician, but also practicing person has been invited. I congratulate organizers for having identified a right person. That is also, it is not easy. I wanted to simply copy that, implement in my place. I copied, I implemented, successfully I failed. I could not make our alumni to adopt many students. It was a very difficult task. So he is a marketing person. He is shown his skills also. So this topic, holistic development, not only for the institutions, but also children, students also need. Of course, he is going to talk in one particular angle. But as teachers, we should remember the word holistic development, not only institutional development in the field of curriculum development, in the field of research, in the field of extension activities and all these things, but also students' development. I'm sorry to say, one of the police officers, he used to say, whenever we go for some argument, friendly argument, he used to say that when I joined as a young honest police officer, he used to catch 10 criminals a day. He has done this one, he has done this one, he has taken this one, something like some criminal activities. And no one used to be even 10th standard qualified. All of them either school dropouts or illiterates. I am sorry to say, because I am a teacher, I am a professor, and he is talking to me, and he says, I am sorry to say, professor, today also I am catching 10 criminals every day. So unfortunately, all the 10 are graduates. So I personally told that, sir, please check, they are not my students. They are not my students. And even I lost my iPhone when I was talking in the university walking. Somebody came and took my iPhone. And I was not able to, just today I have to go to Nepal, all my details, hotel details, everything is inside only. So somehow I managed, I went to police station, police is asking, in the whole country, he was the only professor coming to give complaint for mobile phone missing. Nobody is coming for that. And later he told, I missed my own mobile. So, so this is the situation today, go ahead. So why I am telling here, bringing children is a difficult task nowadays, holistic development, emotional development. We know that gurus, even today, if your teacher name said, immediately we get attention, guru. But now in newspaper you can see many teachers are maintaining very big distance between students and teachers, because teacher was stabbed, teacher was killed, something like that. Every day comes some news. In nearby my place, it happened in one of the polytechnics, and he was emotionally teaching. He took small pen knife, put on the stop. So in my areas, even the teacher, students calls, please come, please come. Teacher, they don't go nearby. They don't go nearby. So this is not the situation, but it happens here and there. That is the reason we congratulate Honorable Government of India for introducing NEP. We congratulate Honorable Government of India Ministry of Education for talking about the value system, for talking about holistic education. Not only institution, how it is to holistically develop in several ways, in other aspects also. We all have great people. In India, I had mathematician Ramanujam. Mathematician Ramanujam recently went to Cambridge, and I could see, by mistake I told, I was also born in Kumbakonam. Mathematician Ramanujam also was born in Kumbakonam. But he is a mathematician. But I earned 40 marks in mathematics out of 100. Later my school teacher Rangachari told that you did not earn, I gave that mark 44. So this is the, but unfortunately when I went to Cambridge, I told I am also from Kumbakonam, I am also from Kumbakonam. They took me to mathematics department, and Ravindranath, he is Professor Ravindranath, both of us only we went, we were in the LEAP program. And he wanted me to solve all left out problems. I told there is only mathematics and Ramanujam should come back. I only belong to that place, that's all. So we will go to some other department, I told. So I am telling, such great people were here in India, and India has produced a lot of such a genius. Therefore, friends, when she is nearing, that means she is indicating that he is the keynote speaker. And he is coming close. Every 1 minute, 1 inch, she is coming towards me. That means she is indicating that you are not the keynote speaker, he is the keynote speaker. But anyhow, yeah, professor is a professor. Professor is a professor. Minimum 1 hour always. If you take one more coffee, 1 more hour. That is how 40 hours we taught, 40 years we taught. Anyhow, good moderator, we appreciate you. What I wanted to tell, I did not know. But anyhow, about the topic, our most honorable former Vice-Chancellor and Director of IIM will speak. Once again, on behalf of all of us, I request Honorable Director to come and address. Please, sir, please.
So, very good afternoon, everyone. Very respected chair of the session, Professor Panchanatham, and my also due credits are due to him, largely because after that elaborate and thought-provoking inaugural session, we needed some unwinding, and he very aptly did that. Especially when most of the people sitting right here were deprived of tea as well. So they needed something, needed some such rejuvenation. So thank you very much for doing that. Now before starting, I must also confess that I don't know if the organizers will allow me to confess that I'm actually not the original choice for this. I'm just a replacement, so please bear with me. Yeah. No. So whatever little I could prepare. But I doubt if this topic actually needs preparation. Because from Professor R.P. Tiwari Saab to Professor K.B. Das Saab, at least people I know, Professor Bansal, हमारे मैत्री साहब हैं, Madam Nalini, हमारे Gandhigram साहब हैं. So all these people who have actually led institutions and led to its glory, if I ask them, did you prepare an institutional development plan for your institute? Bansal Saab is Vice-Chancellor for last 15 years, must have led many institutions, and at a time also several institutions. If I ask them to lay down in terms of specifics as to what all the content of your IDP is, it might become difficult for them to enlist. But they have been successfully leading their institutions. Now, what does this mean? This poses a situation where not all MBAs are business leaders, not all business leaders are MBAs. So should we know IDP to actually lead the institution to success? Or knowing IDP will ensure success of an institution? That is one key question we should be aware of, this fundamental principle in light of which we shall be saying this. Then what does management education provide to a business leader or a corporate leader, or knowledge of institutional development plan to a future educational institution leader or existing institution leaders? At least it guides you to the basic frameworks. Now, to start with, next slide please. Let us have a brief glimpse of the state of higher educational institution in the country. And largely these figures are AISHE figures of June 2025, the annual compilation of the institutions. We have overall 70,000 plus HEIs, 1,338 universities. We have 23 IITs, 21 IIMs, 32 NITs, 25 IIITs, 20 AIMS, and 52,000 colleges. Another interesting thing that I want to bring your kind attention to is that in 2026 QS World University Ranking, 54 Indian universities found a rank, found a position. And there has been significant increment because many a time, I won't name a Vice-Chancellor of one of the biggest university of the country. When he became Vice-Chancellor, NAC accreditation was due. So his institution people went to him as if, what is your state of preparation? हम ये सब नहीं मानते हैं. भाई आपके मानने न मानने से क्या होगा? This is a fact. भाई वो सब गड़बड़ होता है. I'm only saying that this is what is a way to do away with, run out of something which actually comes and assesses. Like for example in IIMs, what I found, and I do not have very high regard for those accreditations, ASCSB, 𝐈𝐈𝐌 𝐂𝐚𝐥𝐜𝐿. Calcutta probably is the only IIM in the country which has got all these three biggest accreditations done twice. The only institution. But one good thing, despite my disagreement, for an international validation, we are not, I am not exposing my institution and practices to Professor Gandhigraham's organization. But I am paying lakhs and lakhs of rupees, $10,000 plus is the annual fees. Lakhs and lakhs of rupees to these external bodies for accreditation of my institution. हमको वैसे भी बाहर का वैलिडेशन को भी अंग्रेजी में बोले तो आपको ज़्यादा अच्छा लगता है, कोट टाई पहन के बोले तो लगता पढ़ा लिखा आदमी है, विदेशी आके इफ़ दे वैलिडेट अस तो हमको ज़्यादा अच्छा लगता है. सो we prefer, जबकि majority of Indian students at the time of taking admission to these management institutions, they hardly know. I'm telling you, I've myself been student. I know hundreds and hundreds of people who aspire to take admission to these management institutions. They hardly know कि ASCSB क्या है, IDPs क्या है, कहाँ का है, अम्बा का category क्या है. And then I also ask my faculty members कि आपको पता है किसी को उन्होंने reject भी किया कभी? It's a business. It's a business. हमारे यहाँ एक गंधीग्राम साहब reject करते होंगे, लेकिन वो कोई reject नहीं करते. No rejection. The only tenure का accreditation का tenure करते हैं. But why I like this is that at least institution has got the guts to present itself and its practices to the outer world. They are ready to let people from across the world come, see my practices, assess me, and tell, भैया ये सही नहीं है, ये अच्छा है आपका. This needs guts. Similar is the case with rankings. And personally, if you'll ask me, and this is what is now being considered largely by even employers or organizations who are providing endowments, or individuals, these ranking systems. So if we are three right here in the hall representing three IIMs, I am Calcutta, I am Shillong, and I am Nagpur. Student has a choice, employer has a choice, donors have a choice. If they are supposed to make a choice among these three institutions, they may take this ranking. Otherwise, what will happen is all three institutions are accredited with the same body. Abhi choice kaise hogi? So at least here they can make a choice कि साहब जो एक नंबर का institution है उसको हम बच्चे ज़्यादा ले लें, 2 नंबर का है तो उसको कम ले लें. And it did happen, I'll tell you. After joining, I tried to talk to an organization. और बड़ा interesting चीज़ है. I think this may interest you. I talked to a company and we decided on forging an alliance for starting a center for management programs largely backed by information technology tool, that too IT based. अब आप में से बहुत सारे लोग स्टेट यूनिवर्सिटी सिस्टम से भी आते होंगे फ्रॉम कॉलेजेस और मे बी यूनिवर्सिटीज़. तो आपको याद होगा PM ऊषा स्कीम आई थी मार्च 2024 में. इट वाज अनाउंस्ड 100 करोड़ रुपए मिले. अभी भी I can talk of because till 6 months before I was Vice-Chancellor of a state university, I know कि उसमें से hardly 20-25% पैसा रिलीज हुआ. That corporate with who we tried to forge an alliance with, उसने हमको पहली मीटिंग में कहा हम आपको 100 करोड़ रुपए दे देंगे. और उसको लेने में मुझे, we are almost on the verge of getting disbursement, उसको लेने में मुझे 3-3.5 महीने लगे कुल. फंस क्यों गया? Why did it take this much of time? Because उसके बाद NIRF की रैंकिंग लगी और वो रैंकिंग IIM कैलकटा की नीचे हो गई. तो they said कि when the proposal went from India to their global office, they said साहब वो institution probably is not doing well because the ranking is going down. So should we actually enter into an alliance with them? So that is why I personally believe that these rankings have got relatively greater significance for students, for employers, for donors, and of course the contributors. But then कोई problem नहीं है. Any external body को देश किसी भी देश से आ सकती है. I am ready to expose myself to. For अब examination pass करना is a technique. This is the technique to qualify examination. So knowing this may reduce my chance of fumbling, and that is why knowing this institutional development plan is important, and that is why these rankings matter, and that is why government, even students want, and I remember after joining we had open house with these students immediately, within 15 days. And what we found was that students were very concerned. आप AACSB क्विज अम्बा का accreditation लेके बैठे रहो. They says हाँ NIRF ranking is going down. It will have an adverse impact on our placements. So kindly look into this. And my colleagues from IIM will probably be on my side when I say that largely the fraternity of IIM ridicule NIRF. NAC की तो बात ही छोड़ दीजिए. They ridicule NIRF बेकार है. वो Indian है. You know, we need validation. वो टाई लगना चाहिए, अंग्रेजी बोलना चाहिए और थोड़ा फॉरेन का ब्रांड होना चाहिए and so on. But despite, I'll tell you, the students said in that open house, and that is why it is so very important. Students said in an open house, 600-700 students. And one of the issue that they raised was, कि sir, the ranking of IIM Calcutta is consistently going down. I said, I'm only 15 days old. Please give me chance of a year and we'll try to improve. But the issue, the problem I'm trying to say is, for target segment, it is important. And if we go methodically, there are greater chances of our success in this. Next slide, please. So, but then there are some underlying principles before we proceed for institutional development plan. Conception is that let us try and comprehend that educational institutions are also to be treated as a living being. If you could remember, Shraddhe Atal Bihari Vajpayee, the late Prime Minister of our country, used to say, Bharat ek jeeta jagata Rashtra Purush hai. We have got to have the same feeling for our institutions. ये एक जीता जागता living being है. If we see this, because उसको भी उतना ही hurt होता है और उतनी ही खुशी होती है आपकी failures और आपके achievements पे. And if we see this, if we comprehend this in this light, we'll be able to formulate it accordingly. And Indianization is required not only for curricula, a lot of talks. There are several sessions on Indian knowledge system, but we talk of Indian knowledge system largely from the point of view of our curricula. It also has to be seen from andragogical tool, as an andragogical tool, parameters of development and planning outlook. I'll also share, मैं एक और शुरुआती स्लाइड है तो मैं इसमें एक और लिबर्टी लूँगा बताने का कि I started my, after having a brief stint with industry, after completing my MBA, I taught with a self-finance institution. I taught in a central university. I led a state university, and now I am leading an institute of national importance. So, I believe employer side se leke, or I mean, while being in the corporate, we were on that side of the table as well. एक relatively comprehensive perspective के साथ I'm sharing things. So it is in this light that it has to be seen, and how this, I mean, the attempts that we are making at IIM Calcutta to consider it to be a living being, and what all that can be done and imbibed into the andragogical processes is also some of the experiences that I'll be sharing. Next slide, please. Now, some say 9 enablers. I've largely focused on 8 enablers of institutional development plan. This is governance, financial, networking. Networking means networking and collaborations. Human resource enablers, supportive infrastructure, digital infrastructure, physical infrastructure, and also academic infrastructure. So we'll talk in light of these 8 enablers of institutional development plan. Next slide, please. Now, you know, we talk of institutions. First thing first, governance that has board of governors, board of management, बहुत सारे IIM directors, board of governors से पीड़ित रहते हैं. Then executive council or court in case of many of the universities, or executive council for that matter. Then quality assurance cells. Then the leadership, individual leadership, right from the chancellor or vice-chancellor to deans, heads, and so on, the registrars. And there are enormous state of conflict. Across the state, there is a different pattern I'll share. Like in case of state of Bihar, there are probably 5 positions appointed by the Chancellor's office. The Vice-Chancellor, probably the Pro-Vice-Chancellor, the Registrar, the finance controller and finance officer. Now, in many of the other states, these leadership positions are appointed in consonance with the state government. In some institutions, in some states, it is largely only by the Chancellor's office. In central institutions, the mechanism is a little different. Now, with all these differing mechanisms, it at times lead to a state of conflicts. Now, like in at least I can talk about we do not have a controller of examination, because examination is a very small activity here, largely looked after by the chairpersons. But there is hardly any clarity on the role of registrar, which is termed as chief administrative officers, unlike universities where there is a clarity of the chair. Now, if the same registrar, who is supposed to be custodian, and I'm talking the leadership position in the institution, the same registrar, if it is appointed by the Chancellor's office, his reporting is different. If he is appointed by the state government, it has a different, unity of command is challenged there. And in central institutions, it is appointed by the Vice-Chancellor through Executive Council. Now, same position, appointed differently, so reporting authority is different. So, their role in the system comes in a state of conflict. But what an institution has to do, at least has to be clear in terms of, greater clarity essentially has to be there with respect to all the positions, and here comes the role of management, what we talk of, because till it is extremely clear, unity of direction to the efforts of the different positions cannot be ascertained and subsequently cannot be assessed. Then vision, mission and roadmap. मैं आपको बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग किस्सा बताता हूँ. I was Vice Chancellor of University of Lucknow, और तिवारी साहब इस बात को जानते होंगे, उन्होंने हिंदुस्तान के बहुत सारे इंस्टीट्यूशन देखे. वो यूनिवर्सिटी का विजन और मिशन स्टेटमेंट नहीं था. अब हम लोग मैनेजमेंट में शुरुआती क्लास में फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर में पढ़ते सब प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ मैनेजमेंट में विजन, मिशन, ऑब्जेक्टिव, गोल, स्ट्रैटेजी, ये वो. तो हमने पूछा इसका, एंड वी हैड टू प्रिपेयर फॉर NAC एक्रेडिटेशन. तो पूछा साहब इसका विजन मिशन क्या है, तो वाकई है नहीं. तो हम कहा ऐसे कैसे हो सकता है कि एक इंस्टीट्यूट का हो नहीं. तो पता लगा नहीं साहब, कागज़ पे सारा स्टैचूट, रेगुलेशन, ऑर्डिनेंसेस, एक्ट सब कुछ देख लिया, कहीं कुछ लिखा नहीं मिला, वेबसाइट पे लिखा नहीं मिला. कुछ रिकॉर्ड किसी पुराने लोगों से पूछा, रिटायर्ड वाइस चांसलर, मैंने फॉर्मर वाइस चांसलर से पूछा, कहीं मिला नहीं. तो आई गॉट समथिंग प्रिपेयर्ड, बिकॉज वो NAC वाले पूछते थे कि साहब विजन मिशन क्लियरली स्टेटेड है कि नहीं है, क्राइटेरिया नंबर 6. तो वी गॉट इट डिजाइंड, प्लेस्ड इट इन द एग्जीक्यूटिव काउंसिल कि भाई कम से कम EC से तो अप्रूव्ड होना चाहिए ना. VC साहब ने बना दिया और वेबसाइट पर डाल दिया, नहीं चलेगा. तो एक जब इट वॉज प्रेजेंटेड इन द एग्जीक्यूटिव काउंसिल, तो एक मेंबर हु वाज डीन एंड वन ऑफ द सीनियर मोस्ट प्रोफेसर ऑफ द यूनिवर्सिटी, उन्होंने कहा सर ये क्या है. तो हमने कहा ये एक इसमें से विजन है, एक इसमें से मिशन है. तो आप देखे होंगे यूनिवर्सिटीज़ के साथ एक कोट लिखा रहता है बहुत बार, सा विद्या या विमुक्त. इलाहाबाद यूनिवर्सिटी कोट रामी टॉट आर ब्रोस, ऐसे करके कुछ बहुत जगह का अपना अपना होता है. तो ऐसे लखनऊ यूनिवर्सिटी के केस में था लोगों के नीचे लाइट एंड लर्निंग. तो उन्होंने कहा है तो हमारा. मैंने कहा क्या है, बोले साहब लाइट एंड लर्निंग. तो हमने कहा डॉक्टर साहब आप समझ ना पाएंगे उस अंतर को, जाने दीजिए. इस पे कोई इनपुट है तो बताइए, नहीं तो इसको पास करिए. सो this shows our seriousness towards the governance. We do not have, even if we have, we are not aware of, and even if we are aware of, are we putting the efforts of the institution towards attainment of that? The very purpose of laying those vision and mission was to channelize the efforts of the institution towards that. भाई एक ट्राइबल बेल्ट में कोई हायर एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशन है, उसका विजन और मिशन डिफरेंट होगा. एक मेट्रोपॉलिटन सिटी के इंस्टीट्यूशन का विजन और मिशन डिफरेंट होगा. कोई प्रोफेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशन का डिफरेंट होगा. कोई लैंग्वेज इंस्टीट्यूशन का डिफरेंट होगा. एंड इट इज टू channelize the efforts of the institution towards attainment of that. But the degree of appreciation, and that is less, and that is why it is so very important to have this. Then monitoring, of course, risk management analysis, external advisory board. External advisory boards, there are in different institutions, again different formats are available. Like for example, जैसे courts or courts का constitution in university system has been largely through members of society also. They have been coming and appraising the processes. This actually led to several conflicts with the affairs. Because after a while what happens? वो किसी को अपने आदमी को बुला के कोई छोटा मोटा काम दिलवाना है, किसी को 2-4 लोगों को रखवा देना है, किसी को 2-4 दूसरे इन्फ्लुएंसेस इन द इंस्टीट्यूशन हैज़ टू गेट इट डन. नहीं तो हम आपका एक्सटर्नल इवैल्यूएशन हम नहीं एग्री करते हैं. तो और कुछ तो खास नहीं होगा, बट इट विल क्रिएट बैड नेम फॉर द इंस्टीट्यूशन. 3 दिन अखबार में निकलेगा साहब फलां ने इस पर रोक लगाई. महाराष्ट्र की एक बहुत बड़ी यूनिवर्सिटी के once I was in Maharashtra for some assignment. So I was told in that assignment a university representative was supposed to come, but he was also member of the council court. तो he said कि हम नहीं आ रहे, 2 दिन हमारी चली है वो, और उसमें some very influential people were member and they have had their own agenda. तो मान ही नहीं रहे बात को, बिना माने वो रोज माहौल खराब हो रहा है. So these also have their own set of effects, but such check mechanism is also equally important. Now how to strike a balance is important, and it is to be seen. And last but not the least is the student feedback. So this is one enabler, the governance. Then comes the financials. Now financials include, of course, basic financial policies, then budgetary provisions. I believe many of the institutions, अभी फरवरी आ गई, नए साल का बजट पास हो गया होगा, बन चुका होगा, पास हो गया होगा. पुराने साल के बजट का अप्रेजल हो चुका होगा, भाई कितना आपको एलोकेशन हुआ, कितना खर्चा हुआ, रिमेनिंग कितना कैसे खर्च करेंगे, फिर कितना बच जाएगा अनस्पेंड. नए साल का प्रपोजल क्या है, नए साल का वो हमारा रेवेन्यू एक्सपेंडिचर हेड वाइज, बजट हेड टू लेजर हेड टू बाकी उसका सब्सिक्वेंट सेपरेशन inside the budgeting. This all has got to be prepared. Another important factor comes here is the autonomy, financial autonomy. Now whenever we talk of a term called autonomy, it's a double-edged sword. कितनी और कैसी autonomy? तो एक देश के बहुत बड़े विश्वविद्यालय कि एक central institutions are far more autonomous as compared to their state counterparts. तो उनके पास खूब सारे पैसे आए, और पैसे आए किसी project. I mean, it can be termed as project, not the university money. University did not have finance committee for some reason. So he said, but this money is not of university. This is for a specific purpose. For this, I do not need finance committee approval. और 25 extra constitutional bodies appoint कर दी, सबको प्रोफेसर की सैलरी और बाकी सारी फैसिलिटी दे दी. अब कराओ ऑडिट, आप तो निकल गए, ऑडिट जो कराए वो जाने. So that is why I say financial autonomy is a double-edged sword. I mean, any kind of autonomy for that matter is a double-edged sword. So how this autonomy, अब ये भी सही नहीं है कि हर छोटी छोटी चीज़ के लिए we are going to write to the government or to bodies only for choti choti cheezon ke liye. But if laid procedure is followed, like for example, I have budgetary provisions, we can always have those revised budgets. Revised estimates can always be. Like what I've recently got it approved is that after, 6 monthly, we shall be presenting a revised estimates, while we shall be mentioning what has been for 6 months. There is one annual form of budget. Then let us break it into quarters. If we break it into quarters, after 6 months, we can always ascertain. Right? This was something that I wanted to spend. For some reason, I have not been able to. Or this is a new project that has come up. So can we further allocate under this budget head? So, but mechanism essentially is important, so that it should not lead to a state that I was just referring to, where in the name of autonomy, one is doing anything. I am told a very, one of the very prestigious university of the country's Vice-Chancellor once wanted to buy a helicopter. They had sufficient money. Many of these state universities have sufficient money. Unlike the example that Professor Panchanatham was quoting, that was not the case. But then, and his majority procedure of purchasing that helicopter was done. Financially autonomous. I have money. I have my finance committee. I can get it approved. But then, since it was a university, it was in the state capital, so the matter blew out of beyond proportion, went to assembly, and a lot of hue and cry was there, and it is because of that, the Vice-Chancellor could not. So that also has got to be taken care of. Then, liaison with government funding agencies. See, I have n number of stories on this, but I don't think that befits the situation, especially on camera. So I'll better refrain from that. But with respect to internal revenue generation, things is something that I would surely like to throw some light on. Now, internal revenue generations, as Professor Panchanatham was talking about, that 780 crores or something, that is untrue. That is not. It was in a span of, I was for 2 terms Vice-Chancellor there. So it was like revenue was almost doubled in that span of 5 years, but without a single penny additional contribution from the government. Without a single penny, and it was all because of various innovative schemes that we introduced, various innovative programs. Though I'm personally, if you'll ask me, I'm not of the opinion of that government should shelve the responsibility of paying salaries. You know, it has got a psychological impact. I'll just throw this idea for contemplation to this August gathering, is that when we work in a government system, be it state, central university, state university, Institute of National Importance, any organization. Like I am Calcutta, by God's grace, वो sufficiently finance उसका sound है. फिर भी मैं कहता हूँ कि salary government को देना चाहिए. आप उतना पैसा हमसे ले लो, in whatever form. Because फिर आदमी, arrogance मैं आपको बताता हूँ, staff का. They start first thinking and then speaking. पर हम तो सेल्फ फाइनेंस है, हम अपना पैसा खुद कमाते हैं, फिर सरकार क्यों बोलती है? एट द एंड ऑफ द डे मैं बोलता हूँ, आप इंडियन इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ मैनेजमेंट से इंडियन हटा के देख लो, कौन बच्चा आता है, आप हटा के देख लो. आप बनारस हिंदू यूनिवर्सिटी के नीचे इस्टेब्लिश बाय एन एक्ट ऑफ पार्लियामेंट हटा के देख लो, लिखा रहता है BHU इस्टेब्लिश बाय एन एक्ट ऑफ पार्लियामेंट इन 1916. आप लखनऊ यूनिवर्सिटी के नीचे से उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार की मोहर हटा के देख लो. आपके एडेड कॉलेजेस, देयर वुड बी सम टीचर्स, प्रिंसिपल्स होंगे यहाँ पे, आप उनको बोलो वो एडेड ना हो तो वहाँ नौकरी करने जाएंगे? नहीं जाएंगे. सो आप सैलरी उतनी ही दो, लेकिन आप दो, मुझसे ले लो, इन वॉट एवर फॉर्म ले लो, कोई कंट्रीब्यूशन के फॉर्म में ले लो, किसी भी फॉर्म में ले लो, आप हमसे पैसे ले लो, लेकिन दो आप. लेजिटिमेसी कॉम्प्रोमाइज होती है गवर्नमेंट की. गवर्नमेंट की लेजिटिमेसी कॉम्प्रोमाइज होती है, फिर एरोगेंस बढ़ता है. देन द स्टाफ थिंक्स ऑफ दैट हम चला रहे हैं, हम अपना सैलरी कमा रहे हैं, तो हमारा पैसा आ रहा है, हमको चलने दीजिए. So as a state, I mean, I would never want to shelve this. ये responsibility नहीं है, authority है किसी को तनख्वाह देने की. This is being seen as a responsibility, but actually this is authority. This has got to be understood. So I may earn money. उसमें lot of initiatives we undertook during my stint at University of Lucknow. One of the biggest was, जो अभी I think Indian Institute of Managements have not greatly resorted to, though they have some different methods. I'll talk of that also, because this is very important issue to be contemplated on while discussing institutional development. This thing is that admission of foreign students. And I'll tell you, in 2019 December, I joined. During that academic year, we had 54 applications for admission to Lucknow University. And in 25-26, the total number of foreign applications were 2,400 something. अब क्या होता है, स्टेट यूनिवर्सिटी में 4,000-5,000 फीस है, बट यहाँ बच्चे, मेजॉरिटी बच्चे आते, तो फर्स्ट स्टेप व्हाट वी डिड, and that is one of the things that we do as institutional development plan, is that we plan for long. So first step we did was, we first focused on ICCR students, Indian Council for Cultural Relations students, who come on the government scholarship. There also for UG it is $1,000, for PG it is $2,000, for PhD it is $2,500. So we increase the number. उसके लिए backup support, hostel नहीं है तो बाहर से कहीं से रहने का इंतजाम करना, and so on and so forth. All these things were managed. Next step was, once we exhausted, पूरे North India में when we started getting the highest number of foreign students, through our persuasions, कोई admission आता तो we used to send it to all the embassies. सभी embassy को भेजते, हमारा admission announcement है, आप अपने देश में भेजिए. We used to send to all the vice-chancellors कि आप अपने यहाँ लगाइए. So the quality of admission went up, quantum of admission went up, and we also went for international students. And then few trips through embassy, when embassy realized कि ये लोग बहुत proactive हैं और ये खूब हो हल्ला मचा रहे हैं, तो they would manage all our foreign visits also. तो हम वहाँ जाते, institution घूमते, उनको अपना, it was kind of branding. So then second stage was, from ICCR students we moved to students who would come on their own at the fees of ICCR. So on numbers, that is one source. Of course, many of the institutions, of course, are like trying to foray into some professional programs, especially universities. They are coming into professional programs in the form of self-finance programs, increasing number of seats. उसी कोर्स में अगर बीकॉम में हमारा 60 का स्ट्रेंथ है तो 60 और बढ़ा दिया, उस 60 को सेल्फ फाइनेंस कर दिया. Now, ये सब दूसरी चीज़ थी. But then largely was, बहुत सारे उसमें इनिशिएटिव थे. So here also, like when I came here, so one thing I found out that we are already charging too much from the students. And I did not hide this with my faculty. I said, I mean, we should not have charged this much. I mean, we are charging too much. So at least no further increment in this. Now, growth तो दिखानी है सबको. So growth कहाँ से आएगी? So let us concentrate on executive education business. In few months' time, our executive education business has gone up by 20%. So, and a deliberate initiative was undertaken, strategically designed, because what used to happen is, कि whenever some bidding would come from, I mean, some invitation, expression of interest would come from any government organization. As I am Calcutta, I'll also apply, and I am Nagpur also will apply. They may quote a little lesser, just नाम सर उसमें नागपुर हटा देते हैं, कोई भी नाम मान लेते हैं. So, जिसको हम लोग कहते हैं हम बड़ा ब्रांड हैं, आप छोटा ब्रांड हैं, या हमारा हम पुराना इंस्टीट्यूशन है, आप नया इंस्टीट्यूशन है, we cannot charge below something. Newer institutions can charge lesser. So what would happen is, वो L1 में बाहर हो गए. तो I said ऐसे नहीं चलेगा धंधा. So a new strategy was adopted. I won't share here. I won't share. And then 20%, and I mean, I'm ready to forge strategic alliance with them in some cases. I'm not averse of that. So there, I mean, this is one area where there is sky's the limit. And then came consultancy, which was almost negligible at IIM Calcutta. And in last 1.5 months, I believe we are able to close to a business of close to 5 CR. So at least something we have started, a new consultancy policy has come up, and then started. So I mean, trying to foray into newer thing and excess reliance on government for fund. The institutions that are already having fund, जैसे state universities हैं, college affiliations हैं, उनके examination conduct कराते हैं, they get plenty of money. In IIM's fees income is largely, that itself is pretty handsome. So fees income is one. So there is excess reliance on either government revenue or fees income is not the most appropriate strategy. Why? Because your cost is bound to go up. Fees cannot go. I mean, after a point you have got to freeze it. So like some of the institutions, IIM Ahmedabad forayed for external education, I mean beyond India campus, and I'm told they are charging probably $1 lakh per year for a program. So this is the extra revenue that is going to come to the institution, which is over and above. So here comes leveraging brand. Of course, something that the chairperson Saab was referring to is getting money. In case of IIM's, government hardly gives even for research grants, etc. So your endowment, etc. is something good. It might be a problem for newer IIMs, but then for older IIMs. So in last 3.5 months, here also, sir, we have been able to get 10 CR plus. Because there, what is important is the trust factor that you convey to your people. कि आपका पैसा खाएगा नहीं. ये पैसे को जहाँ बोलोगे तो when I talk to alums, I don't say कि आप हमको पैसे दो. I say आप मुझे kind में दो, cash में मत दो, kind में दो. So then I explain them. I say if you want some facility to be created, आप बेटर है हम आपको ज़मीन देते हैं, आप फैसिलिटी बना दो. होटल कंपनी का मालिक अलम है, हम कहे भाई हमको पैसे मत दो, हमारा पैसा दोगे वो 4 गुना रेट पे बनता है यहाँ पे, और बहुत सारा पिलफरेजेस होंगे और बहुत सारा प्रोसेसेस होगा और बाद में फिर उसका अलग चक्कर होगा. I'll provide you space, you get this done because you are into that business, you get that done. किसी ने कहा हम 1 करोड़ देंगे, हम क्या पैसा मत दो, हमको हमारा एक स्पोर्ट्स का फैसिलिटी है उसका ऑगमेंटेशन करना है, कर दीजिए. आपको जब अपना अच्छा दिखने लगेगा कि मेरा पैसा रिजल्ट प्रोड्यूस कर रहा है, ये ग्राउंड बनाए और इसमें पैविलियन बना दिया, आपको खुद ही अच्छा दिखने लगेगा तो आप 1-2 करोड़ और बढ़ा दोगे अपना. अदरवाइज आप पैसा देके रुक जाओगे. सो दिस इज इंपॉर्टेंट. एंड देन इट कम्स networking and collaboration. This is the third enabler. I've exhausted too much of time. So strategic collaborations, of course, for student and staff exchanges and largely for innovation and entrepreneurship. Now this collaboration at strategic level is also an important factor. तो अब institutional development के लिए this collaboration is important. अब मैं एक आपको किस्सा बताता हूँ, something where I'm ready to invite hands and partnership from my colleagues, be it from any university or from IIMs or IITs. In case of one proposal, expression of interest, I knew that I won't be able to succeed, but I knew that X institution in the country has had this specific strength. So I talked to the head of the institution. I said, and we had a brand, they had, smaller brand as compared to us. So हमारा brand, आपका connection, दोनों मिलके चलते हैं इसमें, और जो भी काम आएगा उसको बांट लेंगे. Government had formalized, like hub and spoke model is what? This is collaboration. बड़े project में not all institutions will be able to do it. So what we can do? तो हम इसमें we can come and forge alliances, and we can forge alliance for greater good of the institution to serve greater good. इसी तरह से for in student exchanges, in faculty exchanges, and these MOUs, popularly known as MOUs, these MOUs should not be only on papers. These are to be converted on ground. So that is equally important. Then of course, human resource, that is probably the biggest enabler. The student and learner enabler, self-empowerment enabler, faculty and research, cross-functional enabler, strategic funding and emotional support enabler, and pedagogical innovation enablers. So, getting the best and retaining the best. But, इसमें, by virtue of being head of some institutions, I must say that many a time the head of the institutions complain they don't get the best of the talent, and the receiver side, they say they don't get the most and the fairest assessment to be part of it, to be part of the system. Now where lies the conflict? The conflict lies in our comprehension. Because when I see people by standing from this side of the table, I think कि सामने वाले को कुछ नहीं आता, हम ही परम विद्वान हैं. और वहाँ जाते हैं, वहाँ से देखते हैं, तो ठीक उल्टा देखते हैं. ये gap has got to be bridged. Our definition of quality, best, इससे मुझे बहुत तकलीफ है, because हम जब इधर आ जाते हैं तो हम मानते हैं कि सब बेकार है. ऐसा है नहीं. This is not the truth. Because we got the opportunity does not mean we are the best. We are the finest. इसलिए each and every individual essentially has got to be evaluated based on the specific merit of the task. And then at different stages, different expectations should be there. अलग अलग स्टेज पे हमारी अपेक्षाएं भी अलग अलग होनी चाहिए. इसलिए वो एक ही यार्ड स्टिक से वाइस चांसलर से लेकर असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर तक को नाप देना, वो बात सही नहीं है. नेक्स्ट स्लाइड प्लीज. देन द एकेडमिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, you know, all that we imbibe in. Next please. पीछे जाइए और पीछे. हाँ. So then these supportive enablers, that is accessibility, institutional core values, vision, etc. that we were referring to, कि वो हमारे there has to have the basic things to guide our efforts to attain the greater good of the larger goal of the institution. Then digital infrastructure these days have become an imperative, and we have to find it and put in place. Physical infrastructure, of course, this also has a very, very important role to play. I'm telling you, आप में से कितने लोग BHU गए हैं? 10-15-20% लोग हैं. अब तो खैर शहर भी हमारा काफ़ी बढ़िया हो गया. आई एम फ्रॉम बनारस, दैट्स वाई मैं बोल रहा हूँ हमारा बढ़िया हो गया. बट वो पहले शहर की जो कुछ दुश्वारियाँ थी, लेकिन जैसे ही आप शहर छोड़ के भी कैंपस में आते थे तो आपको लगता आप एक अलग दुनिया में आ गए. और वो आपको एक अलग इकोसिस्टम में ले जाता. वहाँ आपका पूरा साइकी चेंज होता. वो सारी की सारी आबो हवा, वो सोचने का तरीका, वो सो this physical infrastructure also has whatever we say, but then it has a very important bearing on the overall ecosystem of the institution. Next slide, please. Then comes the academic infrastructure. Next slide, please. So the process is, first we have to prepare by diagnosing. We have to diagnose as to where lies the problem. Third, strategize, and then execute. Next. Now, these are the supporting pillars for institutional excellence through institutional for IDP. Now, one is pedagogical transformation. Abhi, lot of newer initiatives have been proposed in National Education Policy 2020, which talks about multidisciplinarity. Now, if we have to implement, and there somewhere we have to, no, and we have to not for the sake of saying this, but it has to be largely, it has to come largely through our belief that this is good for the student. The biggest thing that I find, I'm a student of customer relationship management, so I say this, the biggest thing I find is, the biggest contribution of National Education Policy 2020 has been that the policies have been framed from people who are sitting on this side of the table to people sitting on the other side of the table. That is, it aimed, it looked for the greater interest of the student. So, multidisciplinarity, now multiple entry, multiple exit, academic bank of credit, and Indian knowledge system, 2 minutes. So, Indian knowledge system may grounding के साथ साथ internationalization of the institution. This is an important thing that we are going to look for. Governance, and what I want to draw your attention to also, and I keep sharing this with many people, that when NEP, because Vikasit Bharat Shiksha Adhishtan Bill 2025 is an extension of National Education Policy 2020. It's not a separate initiative of the government taken in isolation. This is an extension. Now, when multidisciplinary educational and research university concepts are there, जहाँ एक तरफ, वहाँ पे we also have standalone institutions. कहते हैं इंजीनियरिंग का एक है, मैनेजमेंट का एक है, फोरेंसिक का एक है, स्पोर्ट्स का एक है, एजुकेशन का एक है, बहुत सारा है. मेडिकल का अलग है, और उसमें भी आयुष का अलग है, and lot of universities have been created. Now, an attempt is being made. I believe this is one gradual movement which subsequently is going to take many other people on board, is that we have to bring them closer to us so that there is greater assimilation of dissimilarities, at least in terms of structures. अभी भी जैसे स्टेट यूनिवर्सिटी को देखने के नाते मैं बता सकता हूँ आपको, बिकॉज लॉ एजुकेशन हैज़ बीन गाइडेड बाय BCI, वहाँ तो वैसे भी किसी का वश चलता नहीं, तो उन्होंने कहा साहब अलग कॉलेज होगा, कॉलेज अलग, तो उसका टीचर अलग, उसका कमरा अलग, उसका फर्नीचर अलग, उसका कंप्यूटर अलग, उसकी किताब अलग. प्रैक्टिकली क्या होता है, वायबिलिटी नहीं है, एक सेपरेट बिल्डिंग. सो व्हाट दे डू, आप लॉ कॉलेज में जाएं तो उधर का कंप्यूटर इधर लगा दिया. आप बताइए, इफ यू गो फ्रॉम हियर, कैन यू एवर एसर्टेन? उसने प्राइवेट फर्म से कंप्यूटर लिया, एक दूसरा बिल भी लगा लिया लॉ कॉलेज के नाम पे. बहुत बार टीचर्स कॉमन हो सकते हैं, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का, पॉलिटिकल साइंस का, लैंग्वेज का, उसमें बहुत फिलॉसफी, सोशोलॉजी, इकोनॉमिक्स वगैरह भी पढ़ाते हैं, पॉलिटिकल साइंस वगैरह. उधर का टीचर है, इधर दिखा सकते हैं, एक ही मालिक का दोनों कॉलेज है. सो धीरे धीरे, अभी तो लॉ इज सर्टनली नॉट हियर, बट देन अ स्टेज मे कम व्हेन मेनी, after seeing the experience of amalgamation of these, many other institutions also may come in, and it is largely to leverage the resources. इसमें कोई conflict नहीं है भाई. अगर एक लैब में कंप्यूटर है 50, तो सुबह अगर बीएससी की क्लास में यूज़ हुआ तो शाम को लॉ में भी यूज़ हो सकता है, दोपहर में एजुकेशन में यूज़ हो सकता है. और जो आप अगर ऐसा करोगे, लेवरेज करोगे, तो आप शायद फीस कम कर सकते हो. फीस कम करोगे तो ज़्यादा लोगों को पढ़ा सकते हो, या उस पैसे से अच्छा टीचर एम्प्लॉय करके अच्छी टीचिंग दिला सकते हो. सो धीरे धीरे मुझे लगता है दैट इज अ ट्रांसफॉर्मेटिव स्टेप दैट इज गोइंग टू टेक प्लेस. रिसर्च, प्रमोटिंग इनोवेशन थ्रू कोलैबोरेटिव रिसर्च, इसमें आई ट्राई टू क्लब the linking of this with NIRF also, of the provisions of national education policy with NIRF. And like employability, in NIRF we have 20% of graduate outcome score. Here there is a gap is to be bridged by bringing in greater industry exposure. I have a lot of slides. I think I have been able to communicate largely with respect to the enablers that are there to help us form the institutional development plan for the institution, taking longer duration, relatively longer duration in its stride, so that institutions remain indifferent of institutional leaders. तो एक बहुत बार ऐसा होता है, डिसकॉन्टिन्यूटी आती है, एक वाइस चांसलर, एक डायरेक्टर है तो उसने बहुत अच्छा किया और फिर दूसरा आ गया तो खराब हुआ, क्योंकि it is, we have made system individual centric and not process centric. This is one initiative where it may become process centric. So व्यक्ति आएगा जाएगा, लेकिन institution अपने direction से derail नहीं होगा. So largely this is what I wanted to share. I've been provided enough hint by the moderator to say thank you to all for being so patient listener. I know that you did not get tea, so you are very hungry, you need food. So I won't come in between. Thank you very, very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for a very deep, insightful session on IDP, and also making all of us aware to make the institution a process-centric. I request the chair, Professor N. Panchanatham, sir, to please kindly summarize the keynote address of sir.
You are only inviting trouble. So we all very happily congratulate our speaker, that excellent speech, and a nice way he presented how we must holistically we should approach governance, finance, strategy, human resource, all those things. And very important sentence I liked is institution development is equal to individual development. It's every individual is developed, because it's an incident we all went to 4 or 5 Vice-Chancellors together. We took a holy dip in 144th year in Allahabad. And from Allahabad to Lucknow we came to board the flight. We checked Google map, we checked with the driver, we checked with the 2 more people, and finally we missed the flight. And all these 3 hours from Allahabad to Lucknow, we were talking about institutional development plan only. In all our institution, We all developed our, but we forgot to develop forgot to think about individual development at the minimum catching the flight. That we forgot and we stayed. The next day only we went. So rightly he said. So I don't want to take your time, as she rightly indicates. Summarizing means if you only deeply you were listening, only then you can summarize. And I am thank God that he himself left in between. So. He told, so for the available time, how much I can speak, I have given. So remaining slides, you imagine and go ahead based on that. Sorry. But I congratulate him and all of you for the final comment. I'll stop. Here, the multiple focus in all areas, institutional development, from students' development to financial development. Financial development also, student is coming and telling Vice-Chancellor, what happened to this facility? I applied, sir, money will come, I will do. We are saying. When he goes back, the student is saying, after completion of degree, I also apply, no reply. You are also for financial benefit, apply, no reply. Both are same, only go that way. This is the reply student gives. So single focus, a person was like me, I was the registrar of the university, then Vice-Chancellor of the university. If did not follow his ideas of multiple focus, only single focus, always seeing file. Retired. I'll stop half minute. Retired. Really, I am retired. Then went to home. Next day morning also with the coat and suit ready to go to office. Then wife called, come here. You are retired. Institution will not allow you inside. Don't. No, how is it? Yes, it is true. You have to sit here only. Then I cannot be like that, so immediately could shoot, coat, everything is made ready. Then asked, last day they gave some money, with the help of, like VC office he made, big office, registrar VC office. This 5 rupees bell also he kept. He says, every day 10 o'clock he sits, gring, he says, who will come? Nobody came. Poor wife came. And she said, why are you doing like this? 30 years I managed, it was easy. You are going to office. Now my difficult time starts. You cannot do like this at home. No. Then to change his mindset, he told that we will go to the next street. There is a newborn child for our relative. We will go. No, register. Vice-Chancellor, anything should be filed. No oral command. Then she did not know what is file. She called some deputy registrar. What is file? He don't worry. Take a pad at home. My grandson has got a pad. You take that writing pad. Take one white paper. Third street, newborn baby is there. We will go and meet. A approved, B not approved. Put the file there. What this fellow did, out of experience, neither approved nor approved, he says, between whom and whom the child was born. When our child was born, what did they do for us? What is the escalation of the price now? So 4-5 queries he wrote. Then he got worried, asked the deputy registrar, what is this? Beginning it will be like that, then it will be all right, don't worry. Next day, she knows now outright to file. She wrote this dal half liter, oil 3 liters, all those things, you will go to the job, go to the shop. Then he wrote, did you get 3 quotation for this? Who is the L1? He told, no L1. Who is the L1 in the shop? So many queries he wrote. Then she got, hereafter, living with him is a difficult task. Better next day she took a file, wrote that, I am going to my mother's house. I want 3 days CL. A approved, B not approved. So this fellow wrote, A approved, but until you come back, please make alternate arrangements. So that's what he says. You are not supposed to focus on institutional development, cannot be focused on single thing. And something more than that, multiply he spoke, very happy. Another 1 hour we can listen. Because of this madam only we are stopping. And you have to come here, you have to show your face, because everybody will become your enemy. So thank you for organizing, thank you for inviting. Congratulations to the speaker, congratulations to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Irrespective of this session being very deep, I'm sure this will be the most happy session of the day also. With this, we come to the end of today's keynote session. I would request all the Vice Chancellors, resource person, directors, to please proceed for lunch that is placed in the hall. And lunch for the delegates is arranged in the lawn. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.